Welcome, everybody. This is Anna Marino from Be Healthy. And here today we have Dr. Monica Vagela from Charlotte Nature Wellness. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. And Dr. Vagela, can you tell me a little bit about your background and what do you do?
Sure. Yes. So I'm a naturopathic doctor. I got my degree at the Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine in Tempe, Arizona, after doing a bachelor's here in Charlotte, at UNC Charlotte. I worked 5 years in Scottsdale, and now I have recently moved back to the Charlotte area in the last year and a half. And I'm focusing on digestive issues, women's health, hormone imbalance, stress management, and finding the root cause and treating it naturally with supplements, herbs, diet, nutrition, and lifestyle management.
Fantastic. That's totally aligned with all the things I believe.
Yeah.
Then just a little bit about me for the ones that doesn't know me. I am a physical therapist. I work with intuitive healer and also as a health coach. I basically describe as blending the mind, body, and soul into one treatment. And my main philosophy is bring the inner healer from within. I actually wrote a book called Ignite Your Inner Healer that's on Amazon for people that wanted to learn more about that, empower the self-healing abilities that we already have, and then use all the tools like people like you and physical therapists and other tools that we have to actually boost it up, the self-healing abilities that the body already know what to do. Then it sounds like a lot of people are having a lot of difficult times right now with the coronavirus. Then I would like to use this episode today to explore more. If you can tell me a little bit give more information about where we are now with the coronavirus.
Yes. So now it looks like, everything's kind of shutting down. And the reason for that, I think I want to touch on that first, because a lot of people are not really understanding, like, why are we canceling things? Why are we shutting down? Why are we not being able to go out to eat? Why is all this stuff happening? And the reason being is that we want to flatten the curve. What does that mean? I mean, people are seeing that all over social media. People are seeing it everywhere. Like, what does that really mean? Flattening the curve, meaning that there's people in our population, for example, the elderly, immunocompromised, meaning cancer or autoimmune disease, people that are pregnant, young children are possibly also part of this group. We want to make sure we limit their exposure to this virus because they seem more susceptible than your average healthy person. And just because you're healthy does not make it okay for you to go out and about and then come home. If you're living with an elderly person or have contact with an elderly person, you may have picked it up somewhere not realizing, because this virus does live on surfaces. And we don't know, we don't have enough information out there to know exactly how long, but they're saying anywhere from 9 days to 27 days, which is like crazy amount of time, right? Yeah. So like you could have come in contact with something and now are spreading it to somebody that's more susceptible, which is going to send them to the hospital, to the healthcare system. It's going to overload our doctors, and they're not going to be able to care for people the way that they need to, because then you have somebody that actually comes in for an emergency like an accident or appendicitis who's not going to be able to be seen because the healthcare system is so overwhelmed. And so that's what we mean by flattening the curve, is just taking care of everybody around us.
And I love what you say as far as be considerate to other people. You may be super healthy and you're not really worried about it, but because the healthy population can be the carrier, they can actually transmit to someone else. And last time I read was between 7 to 14 days as far as the incubation period. What's a pretty long time before you even have your first symptoms.
Right.
And you don't know if you already got in contact with someone, you're carrying this virus for 14 days, and now you're spreading to another 20 other people because you don't even know that you have the virus. then
Exactly.
it makes a lot of sense what you're saying as far as helping preventing the healthcare system from crashing, the hospital to be overpopulated. Absolutely.
Exactly.
One thing that you mentioned as far as the population in risk, some of my patients were asking as far as the people they have respiratory problems or asthma, or is that population on the risk category as well?
Yes, asthma, diabetics, and then also population with cardiovascular disease are also high-risk patients.
Okay, yeah. That's good for them to actually know if you are in the category of high risk or not, that you can be even extra careful out there.
Exactly.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, and how do someone know if they actually have the suspicion of the virus? What are the symptoms?
So those symptoms are very similar, to a cold flu, but you want to look out for a cough, fever, and shortness of breath. If you have anything like that, especially if you have a fever or a cough, I would just stay home, self-quarantine, stay away from as many people as you can, ride it out. Now, if you are within that high-risk population, you may want to go be seen to make sure that things don't progress. But if you're a healthy young individual and you are having symptoms, stay home, hydrate, and ride it out, is what I would recommend.
Good. That's a really good explanation. One of the main difference between that and the flu is the fever and the shorter breath.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like how people can differentiate just a regular flu. Don't worry about it. Because people don't have fever and shorter breath when they have a flu. And that's a good way of like, okay, is there the corona or is that something else? And that's really good. How about sore throat and sneezing? Are those included in the symptoms as well?
They are, but they're not. They're not this like a deciding factor of whether or not that indicates corona, because sneezing can be allergies, sneezing can be from a cold, and sometimes flu as well. So, you can't say that sneezing is a indicative factor of having coronavirus.
Good. That's really good for people to know. It's like, okay, even if you have those symptoms, don't be alarmed yet. Wait until the fever and the shorter breath. Those are really the ones that kind of differentiate from everything else. And
we're coming into allergy season. I mean, I saw pollen on my deck the other day, so
yes, exactly. So. Absolutely, yes, I saw that too. The tree's a little bit ahead of the schedule.
Yes, and we had a warmer winter, so maybe that's why. Yeah.
Yeah. Then when someone then you mentioned about if you are healthy and you do start developing some of the symptoms, just stay home, hydrate, take care of yourself, do the self-care. Most people already know what to do on that. We're going to explore more of that later. But how about the population? They are in the risk zone. What should they do? Should they go back to see a doctor? Is there a way for them to be tested? Like how we are with that now?
So they're still looking into testing. I know the public health department is a place that they can go get tested. Clinics are doing virtual screenings and actually sending patients to different locations instead of taking them as patients in the clinic. There's also a coronavirus hotline for the state of North Carolina that I think it's 1-866-462-3821 is the number you can call to find out what steps are necessary to go to be tested, or whether or not you should be tested. You could call that hotline and find out more information.
Perfect. Excellent. That helps a lot, because then it gives people some what to do next, control of what's happening. And then knowing all that, then how can we protect ourselves? I guess that's the main question. Everybody's like, okay, it is what it is. We don't know the cure yet. We're still kind of figuring out the treatment. Maybe you can talk about a little bit more about as far as treatment, if you have anything else to add on that.
Sure. I can talk a little bit about that. So, what can we do to prevent it? Of course, there's no cure. There's no guaranteed medicine or supplement that's going to save you if that, like you got to take the appropriate precautions. Washing your hands for 30 seconds. And, there's tons of demonstrations on social media on how to do it correctly. There's even fun ones with music. So washing your hands, don't touch your face unless you've washed your hands. And getting enough sleep. Sleep is when the body heals. So if you're not giving yourself that time to rest, you're more susceptible to illness. Exercise, of course, gyms are now closed. All gyms in this North Carolina, I've got an email from my gym that they're closed. So get outside, walk in your neighborhood. If you know any greenways or trails nearby, you can go outside for a walk there. Just kind of move the body. There's also things like yoga online that you can log into and do these things at home to move your body. So there's definitely available options for us. I know certain places are offering like free trial memberships for movement exercise. So just kind of looking into what else is available out there. And then meditation, which I'm sure we will get to that with you in a few minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, of course, an anti-inflammatory diet. Don't eat any sugar. Sugar weakens the immune system. Natural fruit sugars are fine, but, no donuts, no candy. Minimize those things as much as possible. Alcohol is also another immune suppressing, weakening agent. You want to make sure you minimize alcohol and just eat as clean as possible. No, as much produce as you can get your hands on, wash it well, things like that. Just kind of eating as much anti-inflammatory as possible.
Absolutely. I love what you say. Like, it's funny to go to the grocery store and the produce area is full, like the vegetables is like, and the can area is empty. It's like, no, people, go back to the produce, get the fresh vegetables, get frozen. It's an option as well. We can buy the fresh one, cut it, and put it on the freezer. Then you can last a little bit longer if people are concerned of not being able to last too long. But coming back to the anti-inflammatory fruits and vegetables, antioxidant, all that benefits that we have from food, it's so important. And that's a really good point there. And as far as the exercises, as a physical therapist, I can recommend more. Is like we need to move. And like you say, there are so many options. A lot of them, they actually know someone, they have a yoga studio here in Charlotte that she's doing online class instead.
That's great.
I want to reference on that. And then is Lisa Moore. People can look at her up and get some of her online class as well. The people are trying to adapt for the current circumstance. And it's like you say in the beginning, it's changing rapidly. And as I was changing, today is March 17th. Then if you watch this in a week from now, you may have a different information, but that's kind of where we are right now with the situation. And that's, and I love you say about the sugar. I read before, as far as there is actually a specific amount of time when you eat sugar that decreases your immune system. Do you have that data? Like how long?
If I recall off the top of my head, I want to say like 7 hours, but I'm not sure if that's 100%.
Yeah, I read something between 5 to 7 hours. That sounds about right. It's a long time. I think people sometimes don't realize, I'm just going to eat and it's going to be like 20 minutes and my body's going to pick it up again. And it's not. It's actually take a long time for the body to repair just because you, especially right now with the stress eating, I think a lot of people have a tendency to actually run to alcohol, run to sugar as a way to feel better. And it's like you say, it's remind ourselves that we are not helping.
Right.
That, especially right now.
Exactly. Do you have any tips for people, like, to manage that stress eating? Because I know, like, I've seen a lot of memes and stuff on social media about alcohol and self-quarantine and things like that. Do you have any advice for people on that?
Yes. There are so many little things we can do throughout the day. It doesn't have anything too complicated. And I think we touched on some exercise is a big one. The exercise actually helps to regulate our hormones and make us feel better. If you're feeling like really anxious and you're feeling like a lot of people, they are in quarantine, they're feeling, oh, I gotta get out of the house. And if you start getting that feeling of anxiety, go move. Put the mat on the floor, do some stretching, do some exercise. Like you say, go walking in nature. And right now, there's not many people outside, and it sounds pretty safe to get some fresh air, get some sunlight. Those all help to get the body to function better anyways. And those are a good way to redirect the anxiety to doing something.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the population that feel like they need to do, that's a good option. For also, I think right now is such a good opportunity for us to be with family.
Yes.
And go play with your kids, go spend time with your spouse, go all the things that we've been telling ourselves that we don't have time to do it. Right now is the time. If you have a book that you have been putting on the side and you're always looking at that book and like, oh, I wanted to read it, but I haven't had the time, pull out that book, read that book. Maybe learning new skills, maybe playing an instrument or starting painting. Those are the things that we can do. They help us to kind of occupy the space and the time because we are so conditioning to always do something.
Exactly.
There are many activities and they're coming out with more and more activities for the kids also. You can kind of search online some really good ideas to just kind of keep the kids entertained. And again, bringing back that family community inside of the house that we kind of lost somehow throughout those years. Then that's as far as the doing. As far as the mindset piece is, remember the stress cause decreasing of the immune system. And remembering our anxiety, worry, fear, all of those feelings going to activate our sympathetic system, stress reaction, fight and flight. And when that's active, our gut system doesn't work very well. Our lungs doesn't expand as much. Then we're not getting as much oxygen into our body. Our autoimmune doesn't work as well. Doesn't work as well. Our body going to a reaction like you are running from a tiger. And when you're running from a tiger, you are in the survival mode, and there is no healing. There is no strength within when we are in that mode. Especially if we're doing that for a long time. And I've been telling that, especially for my patients that have autoimmune, it's like you can't afford right now to be running from a tiger. It's a luxury.
Yeah.
If you already have a baseline, if you're already on that risk zone, you can't afford to be stressed right now because it actually makes things worse for your own health and makes you more vulnerable than anything else. It's going back to first thing is I always notice when that happens. If you start feeling like your heart race, or if you're feeling like your jaw is clenching, or if you're feeling like your toes is kind of like grasping for you not falling, or you're feeling more tension on your body, those are signs that you can just easily pause and notice like, ooh, my body is definitely feeling in stress reaction right now. And when we notice that, we can just start to maybe shift the focus to breath. Something as simple as let's take 10 deeper breaths. And immediately we shift that sympathetic system stress reaction, fight and flight, oh my gosh, to a place of digestion, healing, relax, repair. Then it can be that simple. Then there are many other ways. I'm actually hosting a meditation on Thursday. It's going to be an hour long, and we're going to be talking about way more other ways to do it and more tips. And we're going to kind of work a little bit more on that piece of releasing fear and embrace the power that we have, because when we are on that stress reaction, there is no power. There is only fear and hopeless.
Exactly.
When we shift that to the parasympathetic, and we start seeing possibilities, we're starting seeing solutions, we're starting to see, oh, my body is actually sleeping better. I'm having less pain. I'm more relaxed. Then we give the chance for the body to repair.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with this. You know, I've even seen it physiologically with my patients. It's part of what I recommend is stress management, because like you said, you can't heal from a place of running from a tiger. You can't afford that. You have to find a way to relax. You have to find a way to calm the mind and relax those adrenal glands. And so a lot of what we do is working on health. I mean, we do recommend some meditation apps as well. Like, there's Calm and Headspace,
Yes.
Insight Timer. Those are like some quick ways. Mm-hmm. I know YouTube has a ton of meditations. Mm-hmm. Do you have any other recommendations on that?
I think those are all great options. I do have a YouTube channel as well. They have a bunch of free meditation there. Mm-hmm. I do run a program on the side that's a membership program where we get together once a month and we get a bit more of extra information. That's another option as well if someone wants a little bit more private support and group support than they just doing their own. But I think there's so much options out there.
Yes.
We can't say... One thing that comes to mind that I've been telling my patients is like, all those things that we know that we should be doing? Mm-hmm. Now is the time. Because I think we kind of know a lot of those things like hydration, sleep better, exercise, eat healthy, stop smoking, stop alcohol. All of the things that we kind of like know about it, but we've been putting on, I do that next Monday. I do that later. And now it's the time to bring all of those things back to the front and say, okay, now I have a reason.
Right.
It's big enough. And anytime the fear kicks in, redirect that fear to power. If you're feeling anxiety and you're feeling fear and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling hopeless, nothing I can do, go do a meditation. Mm-hmm. You're feeling, oh my gosh, I got to do something about it. Go do your exercise.
Yes.
Then redirect that energy, that hopeless feeling, there's nothing we can do it, especially because I think a lot of people are focusing on we don't have a cure. Mm-hmm. And we are forgetting that our body can do a lot. Mm-hmm. And the more we nurture our body, the more we give it to ourselves, that is as good as a treatment in the long run, because it's going to help your body to get stronger and you may not even develop any symptoms.
Exactly. Absolutely.
It's shifting the perception of like, my hands are tied, there's nothing that I can do it. You're like, no, that is a lot.
Yes.
We can do it. We just gotta do it.
Yes, you gotta actually do it.
Exactly. Yes.
Absolutely right. The time is now. It's almost like we're being forced to take a break. And so these are the time. This is the time, like you said, family. Focus on your family. Focus on your health. Focus on your well-being. And just kind of, we will get through this as a community, as a nation, and as a world. We will get through this.
And this is all temporary. And that's what we've got to remind ourselves. It's not forever. It's temporary. And I think that helps a lot to decrease some of that fear and anxiety. It's just right now. It's not ours.
Yes.
It's going to be okay.
Yes.
Then what are some of the supplements that you recommended for people that wanted to kind of boost their immune system at this point?
Sure, I can talk about that. But one thing I did forget to mention is hydration. And you mentioned it briefly, but I want to touch on that because I can't tell you how many patients have come in and say, I don't like the taste of water, or I don't like to drink too much because then I have to go to the bathroom too much. I'm telling you, water is your best defense, because the more you drink, the more you flush out viruses, toxins, things that aren't supposed to be hanging out. You're able to flush that out and just kind of keep healthy bowel movements, because if you're not having healthy bowel movements, you're not getting rid of waste, you're not getting rid of toxins. And so that's one key thing, is hydrate, people. Hydrate. So that's just a little soapbox I wanted to get on about hydration. And then I can transition now over into supplements. So, again, there's no supplement that's a cure, but there are ways we can support our immune system. For example, vitamin D is a good immune system support, and vitamin C Vitamin A, I would be very careful not doing vitamin A if pregnant. Vitamin A can be teratogenic, so you want to be careful with that. Zinc lozenges and turmeric or curcumin. I actually do have a little quick recipe I can give you on a curcumin drink back from my mom's house. So, we just do a little bit of curcumin. I would say like a teaspoon of curcumin. Maybe do like a little pinch or like a quarter teaspoon of black pepper. It's absorbed better with black pepper. And then some lemon and ginger. And if you're kind of feeling like a sore throat or something, you could put some raw unfiltered honey and kind of sip on that. It is a little bitter, but it's very antimicrobial. It's very anti-inflammatory, just really good for overall immune support. So those are the things I recommend.
That's great. That's excellent. And do you have a specific dosage that you recommend that people, like average people, should take as far as those? I know sometimes people are concerned that they should take too much or I might take too little.
Sure. Vitamin D, I would say like 1 to 2,000 I use daily is fine. Vitamin C, I would say like 1,000 milligrams. You could increase that. Just be careful. It can lead to diarrhea if you take too much. So I would just kind of stay with 1,000. Vitamin A is very variable. So, and zinc is also, it depends on the lozenges. So just kind of be careful with those. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's always remember, this is just average. Then if you have a specific situation, make sure that you talk to your doctor about it. Like about people that they are pregnant, or people that have autoimmune. If you have a specific diagnosis, make sure that you contact your doctor to get the proper numbers for those.
Right. And speaking of autoimmune, a lot of people are turning to elderberry right now. It's a good antiviral. And again, autoimmune people have to be careful with elderberry. It can ramp up their immune system too much, which is not good for autoimmune. So just be careful with those things and during this time as well.
Okay, what would be like the tip for that population? They do have the compromised autoimmune.
As far as what they should be doing, again, all the things that we listed, rest, exercise when necessary, washing your hands, sleeping well, anti-inflammatory diet, and then of course consulting your doctor for specific instructions as far as supplements and things like that goes. Yeah.
Perfect. And I also, one of the questions I got from my patients was as far as the intravenous vitamin C. I'm curious what's your opinion. People are asking if that they have to do that, if that's specific for a population. Like, what's your information on that?
Sure. I don't think it's necessarily something that people absolutely have to do. The last thing you want to do is overload the intravenous, nutritional IV centers with a bunch of people trying to come in and get nutrients. Again, going back to all the things we talked about, rest, hydration, taking your supplements orally is totally fine. I would just kind of say at this point, I don't think it's necessary to have to do that. But it is available for those who wish to do that. There's plenty of places in the Charlotte area that offer that service. So.
Good. Yeah. And I think it's also important to remember the fruits and vegetables already have a lot of those nutrients. Then if you're feeling like you need a little extra boost of vitamin C, go get some orange, go get some lemon. There are some specific fruits that are a little higher in some of those, like vitamin A. Carrots is a big one for that. They're starting to be a little more specific of like, hey, maybe I'm going to add more of those specific fruits and vegetables into my diet. And they'll also increase the amount of those vitamins that we are taking.
Right.
Excellent. Is anything else you'd like to to add? I think we covered a lot. That was good.
Yeah, I think we did a good job of covering everything. If anybody has questions, you can find more information about our practice at www.charlottenaturalwellness.com, or give us a call at 704-543-5540.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, make sure if you guys need someone that's going to give you the extra support, especially if you have some specific needs, make sure that you contact Dr. Vagela because she's amazing. Then, yeah. And then if you guys want some more information as far as how to bring that connection with the mind, the body, and release some of that fear out of your body, release some of the anxiety, I'll invite everybody to come on Thursday. It's a free meditation that I'm putting together just to support the community. And you can register at BE Healthy with Anna, and that's ANA.com/calendar. Then you can just go to my website and register there for free and just kind of come and learn some more tools to release some of that, because we really cannot afford to have any fear, any extra stress that's not necessary right now, more than ever.
100% agree.
And thank you so much for taking the time to come and join us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Anna. Yeah. Thanks for having me.